everyone, this is Colleen Lemma, Starseed Astrologer and Spiritual Messenger from SacredSoulEmpowerment.com. Here to do a soul reflections video for you. Today's date is January the 7th, I believe. So we're one full week into this new month, this first month of the brand new year 2018. And I wanted to touch base with you because I had meant to do a soul reflections video before the end of the year, but life happened, things happened, energies happened, and I didn't really get that done. So I want to check in and I want to see how all of you are doing. How were you able to traverse those last few days of 2017? Were you able to release and let go? Were you able to have more awareness and self-reflection of some of the patterns or old situations and circumstances that you wanted to release in that year of 2017 as you prepared, and we all prepared, for this new energy of 2018. Don't have any concerns or worries if you're still in that process. I think a lot of us are, and it's okay. We're at the very beginning again of January 2018, and right now we're in a waning moon, meaning that we had a full moon on January 1st, 2018, and now we're in that cycle where the moon is waning, and that means we're in a time of releasing and letting go. So, you know, it's okay that we're still processing some of that old energy. Now, I did do a monthly angel card reading for the month of January. You'll want to be sure to watch that on my YouTube channel, Colleen Lemma. It talks about the energies for the month of January, for the year actually of 2018, and you know, a little bit about some of the highlights of astrology for January. But just to highlight and touch on very briefly, again, this new energy in 2018. 2018 is an 11 universal year. If you add up 2, 0, 1, and 8, it's an 11. That's a master number. This is going to be a year of inspiration, of energy, action, and moving forward. You know, this is what that master number 11 is about. The master number 11 is the lightworker energy, and it's about leadership, but it's about balanced leadership, balancing the divine feminine and the divine masculine. Again, master number 11 is about inspiration. It's kind of a fiery energy. When I think about the number 11 and how it relates to astrology, I often think of the planet Uranus, which is interesting because on January 2nd, the day after the full moon, Uranus went back to direct motion. So there was an intensity there with Uranus right at the beginning of the month with the full moon as far as that inspiration, redirection, and change energy. And so I feel like with that being the start of our year, and again, master number 11 being about inspiration and fiery, passionate, leadership-oriented energy, that's how we're going to move forward with this year. So again, move forward in a state of balance. I'm going to give you a couple other highlights here astrologically for this soul reflections video, and then I'm going to give you just a little bit of a personal update, as many of you have watched along the last few months, especially since May of last year when I went through the fire situation. And some of you might be wondering what I've been doing and what process is happening for me. So I will share a little bit about that and where I'm at towards the end of the video. But to start here, again, we're about 1 week into the new year, and we're going to have a new moon in the middle of the month, obviously, and that'll be a time of new beginnings, but it's more so towards the end of the month of January where we start getting into some more intense energies again. As we near the end of January, in fact, the last day of January, we're ending that with a full moon. Now, again, we started off January 1st, the very first day, with a full moon in Cancer. The very last day, January 31st, we have a full moon in Leo at 11 degrees Leo. And this full moon at the end of the month, just like the first full moon of the month on January 1st, is a super moon. So this makes the energies even more intense with the super moon. The super moon is when the moon is at its closest, like, proximity, I guess you could say, to the Earth You know, there's a rotation that the planets take around the sun, there's the rotation that the moon takes around the earth, and sometimes the moon is closer to the earth and sometimes it's further away. And this is one of those time periods that it's closer to the earth. And if you think about the moon having an effect on the tides of the ocean, on our emotions, and therefore on some of the situations and circumstances that we go through as human beings, with this super moon at the end of the month, it's going to again heighten and intensify the energies, just like the first full moon of the month. But one thing that makes January 31st full moon in Leo a little bit different is that it's also a lunar eclipse. So the lunar eclipse is going to intensify and heighten the energies as well. And so not only now is it a supermoon, it's a blue moon, meaning the second full moon in the month, which is not typical to have 2 full moons in a month, and it's a lunar eclipse. And the lunar eclipse at 11 degrees Leo is very close to connecting with the North Node in Leo at 14 degrees. Now the North Node is a destiny point. It is where we as a collective and we as human beings are moving towards or traveling towards the energy of, you know, and of course Leo is creative self-expression, okay? Leo is about leadership, having fun, being passionate, and creative self-expression, giving birth to new creative ideas and energies and situations. So that full moon at the end of the month is going to be very powerful. So make sure you're paying special attention or sending out intentions or just being more aware of the energies as we move towards the end of the month. Now as we transition, I'm getting a little bit ahead here into February, but February's energy, universally speaking, again we're in an 11 universal year for the whole year of 2018, but as we move into February, the month of February has a 13 karmic vibration. So this is again across the board for everybody. It's a universal month vibration of 13. Because our 11 master number year plus February being the second month equals that 13 karmic number vibration. And in the tarot deck, and we'll talk about this again in the monthly angel card reading, but just briefly in the tarot deck, the number 13, the 13th major arcana, is the death card. Now, this isn't necessarily literal, this is symbolic, so we're talking about death and rebirth energies, transformation energies, regeneration energies, transmuting lower vibrational energies, old situations and circumstances. And, you know, yes, we've done a lot of this, and we continue to do a lot of this. You know, there's a ebb and flow to the cycles that we experience in life, and we're always in a continued cycle of growth and rebirth and letting go and releasing. So we're constantly on some level in a death and rebirth cycle. But again, the month of February will be focused on that transformation type of energy. Now, I wanted to also touch on the fact that since we have a full moon lunar eclipse on January 31st, that means on February 15th, 2 weeks later, it will be followed up with a new moon solar eclipse. Okay, whenever we have a lunar eclipse, it's followed by a solar eclipse. They travel together basically. So now we're into this solar eclipse, new moon, which is new beginnings. The eclipse part of it makes it again even more powerful. And I'm trying to see if I wrote down the degree here for that eclipse. And for some reason I'm not seeing it. But let's see here, February. Yes, 27, sorry about that. I know it was in my notes here somewhere. So the new moon solar eclipse is at 27 degrees of Aquarius. So any of you that have your sun, moon, or ascendant around 27 degrees of Aquarius, or Leo, or Taurus, or Scorpio, those signs will be mostly affected by this solar eclipse. And if you want me to go back, I hear some of you already asking, well, what about the full moon lunar eclipse at 11 degrees of Leo? Those of you that have sun, moon, or ascendant around 11 degrees of Leo, Aquarius, Taurus, or Scorpio will be mostly affected by that eclipse. Okay? So again, a powerful time period during the course of the next few weeks. Again, the introduction to our new year of 2018, the year of leadership and inspiration and moving forward, and again, balancing those divine masculine and divine feminine energies. So just to wrap up, a little quick update about me, and this is where some of you can log off if you want to. I know maybe not everybody is, interested in hearing. That's why I did it at the end. But as far as what's going on with me personally, it's definitely been a time. I've been through, over the last year and a half or so, my Chiron return. And those of you that know, Chiron is the wounded healer, also the shaman. So it's where our greatest wound is, but also where we have the potential for the greatest healing in our lives on a spiritual level. And I just finished my Chiron return. Actually, it's just kind of finishing up with some of the other planets that are involved with that Chiron return. But it's been a difficult time. It started out with the releasing of a very important relationship in my life back in the fall of 2016. And then fast forward to May of 2017 is when the fire incident occurred, and had to purge most of what I had because of smoke damage, pack things up, kind of in transit for about a month and a half until I found a little place through a miraculous unfolding, as some of you that watch some of the past solar soul reflection videos have known about. But when I moved into this place here July 2nd, where I currently am residing, I was being told by Spirit to get rid of as much as I can. I mean, even more so than when I had to purge when I was packing. I had a storage unit for a time, and some of you again will remember that soul reflection video where Spirit said get rid of more, get rid of more. And I got rid of a little bit more, but maybe not as much as I should have. And I kept most things packed. Most things are still packed in containers when I moved into this temporary, what I call my temporary place here in July. Now, originally I had signed about a 6-month lease, and so that was up at the end of December, and things still really didn't quite fall into place. It was just like the divine timing was still just a little off with me moving forward, and it's getting closer to that time. Now, I did sign another short-term lease, but I don't think I'm going to be here as long as that short-term lease is for. And we're just going to kind of leave it at that as far as timing, because again, who knows? We think something's going to happen in a particular time period, and sometimes it doesn't. And we can choose to be disappointed, or we can choose to, in our mind, still remain positive and knowing that things are changing and that there's a reason behind why maybe they haven't changed yet, that there's still things that need to fall into place, on a divine scale, that there's things going on spiritually behind the scenes. And we just keep moving forward. So here it is again, the first week of January. So I am actually off on an adventure very soon here in about 10 days or so. I will be taking a trip to the West Coast, which this is the exciting part. This is part of the movement forward, but the timing was just a little off, And again, when I say that, Spirit's telling me, no, it's not off. In our mind, in our third dimensional mind, it's like the timing's off, but really the timing is not off. Everything is in perfect divine order. So I'm going to be taking a trip for just under a week, only about 5 days, to the West Coast, Southern Oregon. So those of you that are in the Southern Oregon area, Northern California area, close by, this is where I'm going to be going and checking the sites out, checking things out. I'm actually going to be meeting up with someone very dear there and kind of seeing how the energy is out there. I really feel, though, that I'm going to fall in love with the area, and potentially that's going to be, when divine timing is right, and Spirit says, that's going to be my new home. And again, I think it's going to be sooner than my short-term lease, is for. So again, we'll see how things unfold, but it's a very exciting time as far as moving forward. There's still some things that need to be wrapped up here, some old energies that need to be moved through before a long distance move can be made. But I bring this up and I let you all know my update because really none of this, none of where I'm at now would have been possible if it weren't for you. And I say that because there were so many of you that assisted me through loving support, through kind words and gestures. A lot of you that made donation to the GoFundMe page that my dear friend set up for me after the fire. And, you know, going through something traumatic puts you in a different energy space. And it did disrupt for a time what I was doing, my spiritual work, my, you know, the readings that I do. There was a little disruption there because, you know, how can there not be? You know, you're moving and you're not in your same energy space and all of your things are packed away. So it was a little bit difficult to kind of get back into the groove. So I have to thank all of you, no matter what your contribution was. Again, whether it be a financial contribution or love contribution from your heart, you know, supportive words, prayers, you know, even if I didn't know it, I know a lot of you were sending positive intentions and prayers my way. And I just want to thank each and every one of you from the bottom of my heart for your love and for your support and for your guidance and for your assistance in whatever way that was through this time in my life. And, you know, I think that this is something that we have to do for each other, you know, for people that we love and know, our friends, our family, our loved ones, but also for people like a lot of you don't truly physically know me. You know me through my videos, but this is something that we need to practice for one another, is unconditional love, unconditional respect, unconditional support, because we're all a part of one universal source, and therefore we're a part of one another. So if we can remember that, we'll treat each other with that love and respect and kindness that we all deserve. Okay? So I think this is a good place to end. I send you all much love and light and many, many angel blessings. Namaste, everyone.